Hi, my name is Kay and welcome to my channel where I love to encourage other moms in their homeschooling journey. If homeschooling content is something that is of interest to you, you can click like and subscribe down below. A friend of mine is considering pulling her kids from the local charter school and is considering homeschooling next year. And that got me thinking about some things that parents may not know when they are first jumping into this treacherous, dangerous territory of homeschooling, which it's actually none of those things. It's really fun and exciting, definitely challenging, right? Because your kids are home all the time, but it's a very rewarding opportunity. I really enjoy spending every day with my daughter, and I'm so thankful for this opportunity with her. But I hope to maybe give a breakdown and some suggestions if you are in the same boat. So I'm going to start with some terms you may not know, because these are also terms I have come to learn more about in the last few years in my homeschooling journey. So if you have multiple children and you start this YouTube black hole where you're researching all the things about what homeschooling might mean, one of the terms that you will inevitably come across is morning basket. And so let me tell you what a morning basket is. It is really just a term for the things that you do in the morning where you gather your children together to kind of set the tone. Okay, the school day has begun. And this basket looks different for every family. Maybe it's some learning board games. Maybe the kids do some coloring or word searches while you read from a Bible passage. Maybe you listen to music together, whether some classical music or hymns from church, or memory work that you do together in the mornings, memory songs. Anything that brings you together, where you gather all your kids, is morning basket. Some people do them actually in the morning. Some people do their morning basket materials at lunch. Some do it at night. I know a family that has two baskets, the things that they like to do in the morning and the couple of things that they like to do at night before bed. Maybe they read aloud or a Bible study, something of that nature. We don't really do a morning basket in my house because I would only have to gather one. We're kind of gathered when we wake up. So it works for some families, works for other families, but it's an idea of what you do together as a family. So that brings me to another term that you will hear about in your research of homeschooling culture, and that would be family subjects. Family subjects are any subject your family can do together, regardless of the age of your children. Math and language arts would not fall into that category. That is something that's very individual in nature, and also one area of math is going to build upon the concepts of a previous lesson, and so math and language arts are not included in that. Reading aloud definitely is included in family subjects. You can read books out loud to your children, whether it's classic literature or any kind of book that you have chosen that goes along with your science or your history or your geography or just something you enjoy. So that portion of language arts applies, but the other ones are not. Those are going to be individual subjects. Family subjects are going to include things science, history, geography. It can also include some of the enrichment topics like cooking and art and nature study, music. It's all encompassing anything that works with your range of children. Again, doesn't really apply to me. I have one child. See where I'm going with this here? But family subjects can be done across that. And usually what will happen with a family subject, for example, let's say you do science, the extension activities. So you're gonna, as the mom, you're gonna be talking about the main topic. For example, let's say you're talking about ants and you're talking about insects and the body parts and that. What you're gonna require from your first grader is gonna differ from what you're gonna require from your fifth grader in terms of their extension activity. Those are gonna be more individual. Almost all of the curriculum companies I know of that create materials for family subjects are going to have a range of extension activities across the age spectrum of your kids. So that is where you get that individual difficulty for your kids in the family subjects, but you only have to read the history lesson aloud once, right? You're not going to have a first grader in American history, a second grader in American geography, a third grader in world history, and a fourth grader in ancient Chinese history. You know, it just doesn't happen like that. You don't have that much time during the day. Okay, you're one person, so you're going to do family subjects. So just to let you know, those are two of the words that I had to learn right away with homeschooling, which gets me into family subjects. And that's kind of where I'm going to go with today's video. Families are different. If you are super nervous about your first year homeschooling, you will probably feel one of two ways. Either you really want to cement your year, you want to stay home, you want to get organized, you want to get into that family rhythm of homeschooling, and you think it might be best to kind of stay home most of the time for that. Maybe a couple of social activities in the afternoons that do not center around academics. Some of the other families who are just homeschooling for the first time may feel super nervous and want to have a time each week with other families that does include academic topics. So those are both cooperative time that you're going to spend with others each week. I actually have a video that talks about different kinds of co-ops. Some include academic subjects, some do not. Either of those things that you choose for your family are fine. If you feel like you want to get a hold on all your subjects at home, do that. If you feel like you need some other families to go along with you this year, do that. There is no wrong answer. Your family is your family. You are in charge. You are the principal. It's up to you. So, but to let you know, I do have a couple of suggestions if you are looking for things to do this year with your kids that are not math and language arts, right? Because those are going to be more individual. And nothing that I'm going to recommend today is a textbook. I know that it can be overwhelming to move from waking up early and getting the lunches ready and getting the kids on the bus or driving them to school and dealing with the homework and the schedules and the teachers and the schedule at school. There's a lot that goes on with that. And I don't want to overwhelm you with textbooks because they're not necessary. And your school at your home is not going to look like school at school. It's going to look like school at home. So you don't have to use textbooks. If you want to, great. But the ones I have to suggest have nothing to do with that. So my first suggestion is going to be regarding geography. Okay, let's say you want to do geography. But the idea of sitting in front of a world map or a US map, first of all, who has the space on a giant wall? I mean, I just remember the ones from public school where you have the big long thing in front of them and the teacher looks at the little labels and pulls down the one that she needs. I don't have that in my house. I don't have a giant map like that. You don't need anything like that to do geography. So if your children like to cook or you like to cook or try new things, I would suggest doing geography with something like a cookbook. Okay, this is Global Feast. My daughter and I have done some of this. Every recipe in the book has the country of origin for this. So for geography, you're here together with your kids. You could go through once a week, every other week, find a recipe that looks really interesting, go to the store together and purchase the items. This is real world here. My daughter learns a lot because she does all the things with me at the bank, the grocery store, everything I do. She's with me. So she's learning a lot about the real world. So go to the store, get all the ingredients together, go home, make the dish together. Maybe find the country on a globe. Maybe see if you can find a YouTube video that shows some of the landscape about this country. Hear some of the people speak the native language of that area and look up customs. There's all kinds of geography books that you can get, just like a National Geographic or a DK book about world cultures. But the food that you make together, you'll be building memories together as a family, and you're going to be together doing it. But that will cement the idea of the country that you look into, where it is in the world, and just make it more tangible. There's also other things that you learn when you're cooking together, right? Like math with fractions. And you can talk a little bit about the physics behind the food. So that's geography. Okay. If your kids don't love to cook, but you still want to do some geography, another option would be global art. You could do it in conjunction with the cooking as well. So these are also going to have a location for where the project comes from and information on the project to do together. This whole book is projects, simple art projects that you can do together. Again, and you can even do them, you can do the cooking and an art project together. You're doing geography, you're doing art, you're learning in the kitchen. It does not have to be a textbook. Okay, let's say you want to do history and you're not really sure where to start. Our first gentle introduction to history has been The Story of Jesus' People by Generations Curriculum. And I read about 4 pages out loud, and I bought the work pages as a digital download, and I print the pages I think my daughter will enjoy. This is centered more toward younger children, but they have K to 6, 1st to 6th, a different continent all over the world for every grade. There's a different one for every grade. And so, but just reading something simple like this that's not super textbooky would work great for a history introduction this year. Every figure in history that we've learned about so far has focused on a different part of the world, so there's also geography with that. There's also digital curriculum I would recommend looking into, and one of the people I love and follow is Jessica Waldock at The Waldock Way. I just recently did a review video of her mini bee study, but she has some literature studies based upon the Who Was books. And so she'd take a book in this series and you will read through the book together. And then there's YouTube videos, hands-on projects, board games you can do. That'd be history together. You go and you talk about figures in history together as a family. You would read it out loud, or you would have some of your older kids read out loud, and then you could do some of those activities together. So I have a friend, the whole year she did early American history, her family focused on reading biographies of figures together. So very easy, it does not have to be a textbook. Now, I mentioned The Waldock Way. So she has history. She also has science. Not a textbook again, but something that you could do together if you love nature or bugs. I just did a whole review on this as well, but this would be a digital download. I did print mine and bind it. And you take your kids and you go outside once a week and you study a different mini beast. These have insects and arachnids and arthropods, gastropods, annelids, all kinds of different creatures that you could study together. This is definitely science, and it is not a science textbook at all. Something fun you could do together as a family, because again, this is family subject. Each of those is going to come with information on the animal. And then for the kids that can read, they can help read that section with you. For the ones who can't, they can spend their time coloring. And then there's anatomy for those animals, and more opportunities to learn about that animal. There's also word searches and other things, lots of extension activities for that, YouTube videos, board games, hands-on activities, same as with all her curriculum includes that. So that's some geography. That includes cooking and art. And we have science and history. And then we're going to go to art. Does not have to be formal art lessons, but if your kids love art, you can incorporate that into almost any subject. If you are doing science, your kids can use Play-Doh or modeling clay or air dry clay or markers or pencils, whatever, Legos, to create an animal that they're studying. But if you like something a little bit more formal, there's lots of options. So this is a art ideas book I have from Usborne. This is the thickness of the book. There's so many things in here using lots of different mediums. And so, for example, you're gonna be able to use the materials in here to make flowers, animals. You learn about color. You can use wax. You can make collages of city landscapes. So that'd be amazing if you were doing world geography and you could do the different cityscapes for some of the main cities in the world. So just for an example, this is what the inside of the book's gonna look like. And there's different projects. This is years worth of art ideas, okay? You don't have to be an art teacher to teach art. And then the last thing I'm gonna recommend, again, these are all family topics, right? Let's say you are a family of faith and you wanna do some gentle Bible study at home. So we love Not Consumed. I love Not Consumed. They have a lot. They have reading journals, they have planners, they have family Bible studies, they have 2 years worth, or maybe 2 semesters worth of study about missionaries. And I have all that. But so far my favorite thing, because this is what we did this year, was we did a walk through the New Testament. This is their Faithopedia. It actually sits on our desk like this. And every day I flip. Let's flip one more time. So for example, the day we did Romans, we learned that it was the 6th book of the New Testament and the author and the time and the audience and a brief overview. And then you learned the next day a key word, righteousness, more information about that, more verses about that. Let's say we're on Wednesday and we learn a name for the Lord, more information about that, a figure in Christian history, and then where it would go on the timeline. And with each of your children, they have a little journal book that would go with that. This one is 4 to 7, and then there's also an 8+. And every day they would grab, for the younger ones, they get a sticker and put it on their page. They would get the word maybe that describes God or the key word for that time, and a picture, which is a little stamp of the key figure. And then they would go to their page and they would put it on, whichever day that is, and it's color coded. So they would put the book and the week, where it's placed in the Bible, and then the word and the name for God and the timeline and the figure, and they would go along with you. A very gentle introduction to the New Testament. They have it for the Old Testament as well. Minutes. It takes minutes to do that. You can all do that together as a family. So I just want to be really encouraging with you, because just finding the math and language arts the first year is going to be tough. And you don't have to do any of the stuff I just mentioned. You can do just math and language arts, and that'd be it for the year, right? And just pursue your kids' interests, do unit studies. I can do a whole video on that too. We did that one year. It was super fun. And enjoy your time together. But if you do want to do something more than math and language arts, there are very simple, easy, beautiful options that won't overwhelm you on your first year doing this together, and that will bring your family together, doing things you all enjoy. Maybe your kids do have to take turns with their interests. Maybe one really enjoys art and one really enjoys cooking. We all have to do things we don't love sometimes, right? We're all gonna do art today for the geography, and then next week we're gonna do the cooking. Maybe that's how it goes, right? But part of tailoring the homeschool experience for your children, they're gonna enjoy it more, they're gonna remember it more, they're gonna learn more, because you can tailor it to them. And so I hope your first year homeschooling is just full of joy. There's definitely gonna be bumps. You're all gonna be around each other a little more, so there's gonna be some of that, right? That's just what happens when humans are together. But being able to tailor it to your family is going to make it a more enjoyable year. And you are absolutely going to learn no matter what you do together. Again, I'm Kay. I hope this was an encouragement to you. Goodness, we all need it. We all need encouragement in this journey together. If you really enjoy homeschool content, you can click like and subscribe down below. And I hope I see you soon.